You say that you've now reformed the way within which you're working, now working with groups such as HECKLER and trying to work with Muslims in particular. But my question to you is, why 6 or 7 years ago did you not think that the way to tackle these issues then would be to sit down and talk with Muslims?
And keep ignoring it, keep calling anyone who speaks out against it a fascist or a racist. You can keep doing that if you want, yeah? But you, if you do that, are part of the problem, not me. It's you people that are doing that that are going to be.
This is the man who has been attacked, arrested and threatened for years, standing up in the Oxford Union to defend the rights of the voiceless. What Tommy Robinson has seen in his own country has toughened him up with frustration, from someone who watched his hometown change beyond recognition. The British patriot laid out the reality many Brits feel every day, but are too scared, too maligned and too threatened to say out loud. The golden speech happened 11 years ago, but the realities Tommy spoke of are still too pressing to ignore.
You say that you've now reformed the way within which you're working, now working with groups such as HECKLER and trying to work with Muslims in particular. But my question to you is, why 6 or 7 years ago did you not think that the way to tackle these issues then would be to sit down and talk with Muslims, or within a liberal democracy to lobby your government for the way that your government is for example, enacting in foreign policy and the Western involvement in the Middle East that is perpetuating extremism. Instead, you chose to take to the streets and to lead a racist, fascist organization and to, continue to confound Islamophobia. But now you've had this change of heart. So why not do that 7 years ago, and what's changed?
You talk about reform myself and have a change of heart. Who wanted to talk to me 6 years ago? 5 years ago? Who wanted to talk to us? As I've told you, we tried to talk to our council. No one.
Tommy explains how he tried talking to local councils years ago, but no one wanted to listen. This part feels very real. Ordinary people often try raising concerns about their neighbourhoods, only to be ignored or labelled. When normal voices are shut out, resentment builds quietly. I believe this is where a lot of the anger starts. People don't want trouble. They want someone in power to hear their worries about safety, schools, and streets that no longer feel like home. The system's refusal to listen helped create the divide we see today. But the questions quickly turn personal, and Tommy faces heavy accusations about his past. Watch how he handles them without losing control.
And sort of a bit of a myth is that I've changed what I'm saying, and I wasn't open to dialogue anyway. I was. I mean, imams I've met over the years whilst leading the English Defence League. One meeting nearly got me killed because I met with the Imam from Dewsbury. He come down to see me 4 days before the English Defence League demonstration. Remember, this is a demonstration where Muslims plan to blow everyone up with bombs. But I've been open for dialogue, and you're asking what's changed. You said a fascist and racist organisation as well. And you also mentioned Islamophobia. I think quite a lot of the things we fear are rational. I think they are rational. Because a phobia is an irrational fear. So I don't think it's right to just, again, brandish people who have genuine concerns and fears as being Islamophobic.
You make a distinction between extremist Muslims and the general Muslims. You say, there are plenty of Muslims who are not bad Muslims, right? Like you were saying that earlier. But in that video that you showed, when that individual went to attack you in the car, you said, that's Islam.
Yep.
And I have several tweets here, just from 2 years ago, that you said something. I just saw someone planting a time bomb, or as the Muslim woman involved called it, having a baby. You also said, I walked into a library and asked for a book on rape, genocide and killing, and they handed me the Quran. So these are very generalized, statements about the whole of Islam, about people who follow Islam. There's no separation there between radical Islam and, and now you make this sudden distinction, but in that video you just showed.
This moment, where he is called racist and fascist, stands out for several reasons. Notice how Tommy calmly asks for specific examples. Throwing big labels is easy. Backing them up with facts is harder. Many people shout racist the loudest when they have no real answer. He says his concerns are rational fears, not irrational phobia. Frankly, when certain problems keep appearing in specific communities, noticing them is common sense. Ignoring real issues to stay polite only makes those issues worse. The conversation gets even more personal as Tommy opens up about threats to his family. And what he reveals next shows how heavy the price of speaking out really is.
Yeah, anyone can Photoshop a tweet, as happens many times. I get told I've said this, I've said that, and many times it's the first time I've heard it. That's 4 years ago, is it?
4 years worth of tweets, ending in when you.
I wasn't on.
And then you reopened your.
Well, I wasn't on Twitter 4 years. I wasn't on Twitter 4 years ago. Yeah. When I said that's Islam, what we now use is the frame Islamist, which is someone's interpretation of Islam, which they wish to enforce on society. That's his Islam. Yeah? That group, ISIS, which is what these men are supporters of, that's their Islam. Yeah? It is their Islam. You're better off arguing with them about why it's their Islam. I don't know why it is, but you see, smack in the face like that. Just Google Tommy Robinson beaten up, you'll find picture after picture of my face rearranged. It happens quite a lot. Yeah? The vast majority of Muslims, again, that I meet, don't smack me in the face. But there is an issue. There is a problem. It's a problem that you should be able to talk freely about, or at least oppose.
Tommy talks about death threats, warnings to his pregnant wife, and the constant pressure. This part hits hard. Speaking plainly in Britain today can put your family at risk. I respect his honesty. Most people stay silent because the cost is too high. Tommy refuses to stay quiet even after years of smears. He says he has Muslim friends, but will not ignore grooming gangs or areas where British people feel unwelcome. This balance, criticising problems while not hating people, is what many want but rarely hear in public debate. He then shares specific examples from his hometown of Luton, and the details he gives are eye-opening for anyone who remembers the old Britain.
I want to kill you. Yeah? 6 Osman warnings I've had. So's my wife. She's had Osman warnings when she was pregnant, telling her that people were planning to kill her. We're in Britain, land of freedom and democracy. We should feel free to oppose, say, stand up against anything we want to. You want to shout me down, you want to slander me, you want to call me something, fine. All we see is violence. That's all I see. It's not all I see, because the vast majority of Muslims who come up to me, I've had many Muslims stop me in the street and say that they feel their religion's been hijacked. You can date this back, which is when I go back to this Muslim recently, who I'm meeting this week, and he brings it all back to the time of Abdul Wahhabi, talking about Wahhabism. Can you blame me for thinking it's representative of Islam when I live in Luton and I see the scenes you've seen? Would you blame me? And when the imam I see on my TV, I do a bit of research, I do a bit of digging. They opened a Discover Islam Centre in my town, okay? A Discover Islam Centre was opened in Luton Town Centre, and it was opened by Luton Borough Council. It took me 10 minutes to dig and look at Yusuf Bonner, that was his name. Yusuf Bonner was the manager of the centre. This was his 5th religion, was Islam, yeah? He's been everything, even a Jedi, I think. But he's working his way through, he's obviously a nutter. And he's opening a centre in Luton Town Centre, supported by our council. On his blog, he said, Christians are wearing suicide vests of wrongful belief. We will not rest until Islam is brought into every home in Luton. Bearing in mind, you've seen the problems we've got. Yeah? This was only in 2012. Now, I wondered who was funding this centre, this Dawah centre that was going to be a shop in the town centre. I want to know who's funding it, because then when you find out who's funding it, you see what's going to be propagated through it. So I set up a fake profile in a Muslim name, and I began a conversation.
Tommy describes a Discover Islam Centre opened in Luton Town Centre with council support. He looked into who was behind it and found troubling material. Luton has changed fast. With over 30 mosques and declining churches, some areas feel completely different. Muslim birth rates are much higher, so the metamorphosis keeps speeding up. Many locals say they no longer recognise their own town. Streets, shops, and schools have changed beyond recognition in just 2 decades. When even moderate voices get shut down, people like Tommy become the only ones willing to speak. The pressure stays high as Tommy goes on to explain why he keeps going despite everything he has lost.
Raheem Green, because these sort of centres have been opened in Tower Hamlets, yeah? You know, IRA, the charity. Abdul Rahim Green. So what this centre's coming to do is show us the true Islam, yeah? Because we've apparently seen the false Islam many times. We want to see the true Islam. So straight away I got talking and he confirmed, yes, they are behind this centre. So then I looked online to find speeches by Abdul Rahim Green, where straight away I see a speech where he says, if your wife disobeys you, take a stick and beat her. I don't want this in my town. I certainly don't want it in every home in Luton. This is not helping, yeah? And the Muslims I'm meeting this week also say that this centre, they agree, is an extreme centre. It's got Wahhabi books in it now, yeah? Can you blame us, as a non-Muslim, as a Luton lad, growing up in the town? Do you blame me for thinking what I'm seeing is representative? When I do a bit of research, I do a bit of digging on anyone I've debated over the years. This is why I have a problem with a lot of the organisations, the mainstream organisations. I know Quilliam are hated, aren't they? Quilliam are hated. But most Muslims call them apostates. Majority of people hate them. Majority of people, anyone that speaks out is hated. Yeah? It's not a good look, it's not beneficial for you. Which is why at the same time when I'll just go back, I'll go off point a bit, when I talk about Osama, I received a terrorist warning from Al-Shabaab after the Kenyan shopping mall. And this is where I was getting called a traitor a lot. People calling me a traitor when I left the English Defence League. Obviously I had this big backlash against me. It's a difficult thing to do at the time. Now, Osama got an Osman warning. I know what it's like to get a knock on the door, sit your wife down, tell you people are going to kill you. It's not good. It certainly gets you in the doghouse anyway. But Osama got that as well. So whilst people are calling me a traitor and they're calling them, there's Muslims.
Notice how he talks about meeting Muslims who fight terrorism and extremism from inside their own communities. There are good people in Islam, but the problems cannot be ignored. Tommy is not painting every individual with the same brush. He is pointing at real issues that affect safety for everyone. He's not against people, he's against the problems. The courage to keep speaking after years of attacks is rare. Most would have given up long ago. He then opens up about the personal toll, and what he says next shows how deep the pressure on ordinary voices really is.
Lives are in danger, which many other Muslims are now calling them apostates. And if you are a moderate Muslim, you should be defending what they're saying and seeing the hard, and they're putting their lives and reputations on the line. But going back, do you blame me? Can you blame me with what I've showed you? And that's only a snippet. Yeah? I could stand here for 5 hours and show you things that when you watch them, you're like, what? What? How is this? That's what I've been like so many times. Look, what's going on? This is my town. It's where my kids are going to grow up. Can you blame us? What you're seeing there, you see Stacey Dooley. It's enough to bring her to tears. That's just one incident. This is happening all the time. All the time. So, can you blame me? Honestly, can any of you blame us for having an issue with it? Can you blame us? You might be able to blame us for generalising at times against all Muslims. Do you blame us for saying what we see? And then we get told so many times it's not what we see, but we're just telling you what we see. It's not our fault. I haven't created this. I didn't create that. I didn't make them want to hate us, want the complete destruction of the West. We were a symptom and a reaction of the problem. Now, if we don't sit up and listen and try and solve the problem now, what's going to replace the English Defence League? It's going to be bad in years to come. So you can either address the issues now, keep burying your head in the sand, keep ignoring it, keep calling anyone who speaks out against it a fascist or a racist. You can keep doing that if you want, yeah? But you, if you do that, are part of the problem.
When you hear Tommy mentioning death threats, warnings to his family, and the constant stress, he's not making them up. Speaking out has cost him dearly, but staying silent would cost the country more. This part is heavy. You can feel the weight the young man carries. Many ordinary British people share the same fears but stay quiet. Tommy carries their voice. The fact that he still shows up and talks plainly after everything is impressive.
To now be at the Oxford Union. I think it's a good day for freedom of speech. You've all heard, I was getting called a little fascist as I was walking in here. There's protests outside from Unite Against Fascism who, the definition of fascism is trying to stop people have a difference in opinion of you, which is what I have. So I think they're showing themselves up as fascists. I'd like to thank, I know there's probably been a backlash against the union for inviting me here today. It's been a good day for freedom of speech, but also a bad day. I had a speech prepared that I was going to come here and talk about, everything I had prepared to say. I was visited 4 days ago by probation, and I was warned about my licence. I'm on an early release from custody, so I'm on a licence. And certain things that I was going to say would result in me getting recalled back to prison. Now, even though, which I said, obviously I haven't got the same freedom of speech as what everyone else has got then. They said, no, not whilst you're on licence. And I was going to expose certain things about the police, but that'll have to hold now. What I want to do is I want to take you all through a journey of my life and talk to you about life stories growing up in Luton. By the end of it, I want you to understand where I come from and who I am. And why. I think why is the major question. Why was the English Defence League a phenomenon? Why was it born in Luton? Why was it started? What are the reasons that brought it there? I'm going to talk to you about Luton. I was born in 1982. When I was born in 1982, we had one mosque. I just want you to understand the demographic of the town. In 2014, we now have 30 mosques. The projected government growth forecast for the Pakistani and Bangladeshi community of Luton by 2030 is to increase by 70 to 77%. This would not be a problem if we didn't experience the problems we see related within the community. At the same time as I talk you through this, I don't want for 1 minute for you to think I'm tarring all Muslims as bad. I'm just giving you a projected view of my life. I want you to understand the stories that have happened. I'll start with my cousin, Jeanette.
Groups like the English Defence League were a reaction to problems that were ignored for too long. If those problems are not addressed honestly, worse things will come. This warning feels urgent. Britain has changed a lot in a short time. When concerns about integration, safety, and culture are dismissed as hate, people lose trust.
Or my cousin's cousin, she was sexually abused, she was groomed. It's what we now know as grooming. She was raped, she woke up one day, she was found running semi-naked from Bury Park. Bury Park is the area where a lot of the Muslims have congregated and live. It's where these 30 mosques are. She was picked up by prostitutes in the street, her dad collected her. If I talk about the failures from the police, when the family, I want you to understand and try and picture this as though it was your family relative. When the family were going to the police, when the girl is missing for 2 days, 3 days, yeah, and there is no response, and up until the Rotherham report, people wouldn't believe these stories because they are unbelievable. They would say she's a drug addict because in the end she was a drug addict because she was hooked on heroin that they were giving to her. She would climb out of the bedroom window to get back to them for her fix. The failures everyone now knows from the police force on these issues, but I want to just talk you through. When I was at school, the high school I went to, you had the Muslim playground and you had the non-Muslim playground. That's the same in pretty much every school in Luton. It wasn't divided through racial lines, it's divided through religious lines. We didn't cause that division. My friend at school, I was seeing a girl called Charlotte. She's from a lovely Irish family. And I was 12 years old, and my friend Razwan was seeing her friend Lisa. And I can remember Lisa phoning up Charlotte hysterical because Razwan's family had all gone up to Lisa's house to threaten the family to say that they couldn't see or speak to each other. As a 12-year-old boy, this was a light bulb moment for me to think, what is this about? There was another boy around the corner from where I live called Jamie. He fell in love with an Asian girl at school. He got violently attacked for that. When they went to sixth form, Luton sixth form is the main sixth form in Luton town. I could have gone to sixth form. I got 11 GCSEs, I got an A in maths, 5 Bs, 5 Cs.
Tommy's message is simple. Face the issues now, or face bigger problems later. He is not the problem. The refusal to have honest conversations is the problem. This speech shows why Tommy connects with so many. He speaks in plain English about things many see every day, but are told not to mention.
English lad in the town, to go to that sixth form, I have to be prepared to look at the ground. And I'm not prepared to look at the ground. That's because there were Pakistani Muslim gangs in that sixth form, extremists in that sixth form. Now, they went to Jamie went to sixth form. His girlfriend went to sixth form, who he's in love with. They couldn't even acknowledge that they knew each other, okay, because of the fear of what would happen. I had another friend, John English, on a night out. I'm just taking you through stories. John English, his girlfriend's name was Akvinder. She was a Sikh actually, but she was from Letchworth. But we were out on a night out in Luton town, and these Muslim lads just come over and spat straight in her face. So these are instances, and I'm not saying it's all Muslims, I'm just talking, saying there are problems. I've seen them, okay, growing up through Luton, and I'm asking that you all try and envisage yourself, take yourself out of where you've grown up. Many of you may have grown up in working class communities and towns, but try and see it. We talk about racial abuse. I don't know how many people have been a victim of racial abuse. I was a victim of racial abuse at the age of 12 when I was attacked on the way home from a swimming pool by a Pakistani gang. I was called a white pig. My friend had his hat taken off him, we were spat in our face and slapped. Another incident, twice in one night, walking to the under-18s nightclub. Whilst I'm talking about racial abuse, I'll talk about Mark Sharp. Mark Sharp was murdered in 1995. Any of you can Google this murder, yeah? He was my uncle's friend and his son was my age. He was going to get a takeaway. He was in his car, a van. He was going to get a takeaway when a car braked in front of him. He swerved around it and he gave a hand gesture. He was followed. He didn't know he was being followed. 4 Muslim Pakistanis were in the car. They phoned for reinforcements. More come. He was not aware of this. When he got outside the kebab shop, he come out, his son's with him. They beat him. They hit him so many times, they were hitting him with bats, with poles, with sticks. Read the murder, it will shock.
Listen to the incessant immigrant violence that has become our once beloved Britain. The rapid changes in towns like Luton, the safety fears, the two-tier treatment, these are real. Ignoring them does not make them go away. It only makes the anger grow. Tommy's willingness to keep talking despite the personal cost is rare. Britain needs more voices like this, calm, factual and unafraid. The future depends on whether we face these issues honestly or keep pretending everything is fine. Kindly share your thoughts in the comments below. What did you find most concerning out of everything Tommy speaks about?